We talk to AI all the time, but have you ever really thought about how we teach it to, well, listen? See, an AI straight out of the box is like a genius who's read the entire internet, but if you ask it to do something simple, it just kind of stares back blankly. So today, we're diving into the secret sauce that fixes this. It's a process called instruction fine-tuning, and it's how we turn that clueless genius into a helpful assistant.
Okay, so picture this. You've got this incredibly powerful AI that has practically swallowed the entire internet. You give it a super simple, straightforward command. You'd think, no problem, right? Well, what happens next is probably not what you'd expect. You're expecting a straight answer, but look what the model does. It doesn't actually do what we asked. Instead, it just keeps writing. It's as if it saw our instruction not as a command, but just as the beginning of a sentence it needed to complete. It's doing its basic job, predicting the next word, but it has absolutely no idea what we actually want it to do.
And that right there is the heart of the problem. See, a freshly pre-trained model only knows how to do one thing, predict the next word. That's its entire worldview. It doesn't get the concept of an instruction. It's an amazing text predictor, for sure, but it's a really, really bad listener.
So this whole issue, we call it the obedience problem. The model's got all this incredible knowledge, but zero ability to actually act on it. So how in the world do we fix that?
Well, the answer is a process called instruction fine-tuning. And you can honestly think of it like a finishing school for AIs. It's this special, targeted training phase where we specifically teach the model, hey, when a human says this, you should do this. It's how we get it to stop just predicting words and start giving us actually useful responses. And this whole process really breaks down into three main steps. First, we've got to build the perfect lesson plan. Then it's time for the actual training session. And finally, you guessed it, a final exam to see if it was paying attention. So let's walk through it.
So how do we begin? How do you actually teach an AI to listen?
Well, just like any good student, it all starts with the right textbook. And for an AI, that textbook is the data set we give it. And I mean everything, absolutely everything, depends on how good this textbook is.
And you know what? The building blocks for this textbook look surprisingly simple. What you're seeing here is just one of over 1,000 examples, and each one is basically a flashcard, right? You've got an instruction, some input, and then the perfect answer. That's it. This simple, clear structure is the key to making this whole thing work. Okay, but the AI can't just read this jumble of raw data. We have to format it into a consistent structure, a prompt style, that's kind of like laying out a page in a textbook. It tells the model exactly what it's looking at. Okay, this part is the question, and that part is the answer I'm supposed to learn. So you can see it right here. The raw data on the left gets cleaned up and organized into what's called the alpaca prompt style on the right. Those headers, instruction, input, and response, they are everything. By seeing the structure thousands of times, the AI starts to recognize the pattern and understand its task. All right, our textbook is perfectly formatted. Now it's time for class to begin. This is where the AI actually hits the books. So the model gets shown thousands and thousands of these formatted examples, and its goal is incredibly simple. It has one job: learn to generate the correct text that comes after that hashtag response tag. That's the entire game. But here's a really clever trick they use in training. The model sees the entire prompt, but when we're grading it, we tell the system to completely ignore any mistakes it makes on the instruction or input parts. That's what those -100s mean. It's like we're masking them out. This forces the AI to pour all of its learning power into just one thing, getting that response part perfect. And just so you know, we're not doing this on some tiny little model. This is GPT-2 Medium, an AI with 355 million parameters. You can think of those parameters as tiny little knobs the AI can tune to learn. So yeah, it's got more than enough brain power to grasp these patterns.
So, did all that work? Oh, you bet it did. This chart shows the model's loss, which is just a fancy word for its error rate. You can see it started pretty high at 3.76, and then it just plummets down to 0.65. That's the cold, hard math telling us the AI was absolutely learning its lesson.
Okay, the training session is over. The numbers look good, but did it really work? It's time to see the results. Let's go all the way back to our very first example. Remember how it failed completely? Well, take a look at it now. After fine-tuning, it perfectly follows the instruction and gives us the right answer. That is a massive success. Okay, that's one success story.
But our test set has hundreds of these questions. We can't sit there and grade them all by hand, right? So how do you grade an AI's performance at a massive scale?
And this is where things get really interesting, kind of meta. To solve the problem of grading at scale, we bring in an even bigger, more powerful AI, in this case, Llama 3, to act as the judge. That's right, we're using an AI to grade another AI's homework. And this super grader isn't just giving a number. Look at this feedback. It gives a partial score of 40 out of 100 because the answer was close but factually wrong. And then it explains why it's wrong. This kind of nuanced, reasoned evaluation is incredibly valuable. So, after running all the responses through the Llama 3 grader, we get a final average score, 50.32 out of 100. Now, that's not an A+, but it's a solid, quantifiable benchmark that shows our model has learned a significant new skill. So, we've seen the process, we've seen the test results, but let's zoom out. Why is this technique so fundamentally important for the future of AI?
This matters because instruction fine-tuning is the bridge between a raw AI and a useful tool. It's the secret sauce that transforms a model that just predicts text into the helpful assistance we rely on every day. It proves that with a high-quality textbook, we can teach an AI specific skills, creating this powerful cycle where we can continuously teach, test, and improve these incredible models.
And this leaves us with a pretty fascinating thought. We've unlocked a reliable way to teach an AI to follow our instructions and perform specific tasks. The bottleneck isn't really the technology anymore. The real question has become much more human. What do we want to teach it next?